We already mentioned one of them, but I do not know who's first up. Go ahead and click it over. And we
Drum roll.
have
Great presentation live here.
Boom.
Oh,
Jake.
yeah, baby.
Jake's up
Hump
first. Syracuse in Florida.
Sir.
Jake, next
Let's see
slide.
everybody's-
We will be able to put up both teams' schedules. So just initial what jumped off the page to both of these teams.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, my picks are they're kind of soft because they're both kind of juiced. Well, Florida's under is really juiced. Like
Are
it's
they?
like
Is it disgustingly juiced?
It's like
I didn't look
minus
at the numbers.
170 right now.
Mhm.
So I don't think you can ever get like a profit boost on any over or under from any of the sports books. But if you did, you definitely want to throw it on one of these two. I can get into it. I don't know if you guys want me to really talk about it, but it starts with Florida's schedule, and it really they're actually both schedule based. I mean, what else are you going to kind of really base it off of?
Yeah.
Going in February, because Syracuse on one hand has a really completely new roster.
I was going to say dive more deep into the Syracuse thing because I'm sure the Florida thing might show up again, or people have probably heard it other places because it's one that's been talked about a ton, but the Syracuse one not as much.
Yeah, I think with Brown coming in, the guys he's brought from Georgia, specifically at the receiver spot, he brought 2 or 3 guys there. And just the addition of Kyle McCord, he's probably a higher end ACC quarterback. He's bringing in all of these SEC second string guys that I think can be impact players in an ACC. The first 4 games are all at home. And then they get UNLV, Ohio, Holy Cross, and UConn in the non-conference schedule.
We got to get that UConn and Holy Cross one. We got to have those.
Yeah.
Got to have them.
And the first road trips to UNLV, and I think UNLV is kind of recovering from the portal, just like any G5 would after a successful year. The one tough game that they really get is Miami at home at the end of the year. No Florida State, no Clemson. You got to win 7 games. Like we're looking here, automatic ones. The one thing too is nice is they get Stanford to come across country early in the year. They have to go at Cal, but
I don't think I'm scared of Stanford right now. Cal is a little bit nerve-wracking because that is a cross-country flight, and Cal's a little high-flying.
They can put up points. They just can't stop a runny nose.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
The one stretch that they have is at NC State, at Pitt, if you even want to say that, and Virginia Tech. If you go 1-2 there, I think you're easily hitting 7 wins if you take care of the games you're supposed to. You get Georgia Tech earlier in the year. Florida, I'll touch on it quick. Like we need to talk about it. Like this is disgusting. This is one of the worst schedules I've seen in a really long time.
It might be up there in college football history as the hardest schedule.
I haven't even played it yet. People are freaking out about it.
It's insane.
It's bad. From October 12th to November 30th.
Maybe 2 or 3.
And you know what though? The one thing I do get out of this, and I think it reminds me of Iowa State last year when we had their schedule and we thought it was really tough in the beginning. And then you play the season out. Sometimes these schedules don't end up being as tough as we predict in March. But,
fair.
We kind of know the talent that's on this team. Let's just look at Murderers Row right there, the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, but those schedules are scary, but they don't end like the last 5 of their studs.
Georgia, at Texas, LSU, and Ole Miss at home. At Florida State to end your rivalry weekend. You lost Trevor Etienne to the portal. You lost Princely Umanlian to Ole Miss, who you're going to see in November. And then can you really, if you're Billy Napier, are you really going to rely on your trust in your last year at Florida and in DJ Lagway? Like he's one of the best prospects at the quarterback position we've seen in a really long time, but a true freshman quarterback. I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes out there. I think he's going to really struggle in this spot. And it's just hard to ask from him. They also lost Ricky Pearsall to the NFL draft, their top pass catcher. So just a lot of new faces for them.
There's no knock on playing UCF either, who's gotten better. A&M's gonna be good.
KJ
it's
Jefferson.
Like, what's the morale? Let's just say after they play Texas at Texas, right? You got LSU at home. You're coming back home for a 2-game stretch. What's the best end of that morale? Because I'm
telling you right now. I'll tell you right now, JP.
It's not very high.
That Miami game is massive. I think it's massive to both programs, but even more to Florida.
This would be one
that's a must-win game.
Like in Utah, it's like had no business happening, but put them in the right spot.
If you can get Miami at home and then obviously Samford to start off 2-0, I think you can start to see a little life. You get A&M at home. at Mississippi State.
If they
but-
start 2-0, I'm hammering the live under during the season. I just want that to be known. It's SEC win totals or something like that. Like how many conference wins he got. I'm going back in.
There's an argument to be made here that, I mean, there's like probably an 80% chance you don't win from October 12th on.
Yeah.
There's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's very
It's
fair.
like-
Like, you better hope the Dolphins are good if you're a Florida football fan. You
They
better
don't even go to the
there's
Dolphins
something
games
you
when
can
they're
invest
good
in.
anyway.
Well, you better find it. I mean, you're not going to want to go to these. So that's just murderer's row to end the year there. But all right, Jake, those are two good picks. Over goes to Syracuse, under to Florida. Jumping to JP's. JP, take us through it.
All right, I'm up. I had Florida too, so we won't spend a ton more time on Florida. SMU, I think this is a hot topic here. I went super chalky on the under. I think the over here, I think is smart. don't know
SMU,
how-
by the way, is the new crypto. Like it's the new Bitcoin. Like
Everybody's
it's
buying it.
It's the GameStop. Everybody
buying it right
wants SMU.
Well, let's be honest here. Like, it's not one that like most people who don't pay a ton of attention during the off season know about, but like the stuff we listen to or like us here, we're gonna hit SMU. When I'm looking at SMU though, I'm looking at a really good program going into a weak conference, right? And we don't usually take these G5s that bump up into the power conferences and think they're going to be good. I liked UCF last year. And to be completely honest with you, I was basically, I was a blown 30-point lead away from being hit it on the absolute nose. So I think I've done pretty well hitting these guys. So I like SMU here. Like if you go to SMU schedule and you just see what they are return, they continue to build and really invest in the program down there. Great head coach, great program, great athletes everywhere in the state of Texas, the great recruiting. There's no reason we don't sit 2-0 with TCU. Okay, now here's your toughest stretch if you're SMU. TCU, Florida State, Louisville. Now, let's say you lose all those. Okay, let's just say that. That's fine. Stanford, Duke, Pitt, Boston College, Virginia, California. All teams you are going to be favored against. Stanford's going to be awful. Duke's going to not be as good as they were last year. They'll be all right, but it's at Duke. You don't know where the morale will be on that one. I'd be interested to see that fan base even get up and have a lot of students in the stadium now that they've lost their head coach who kind of gave them everything. Pitt, unsure really. Boston College, I think, is going to be in trouble with Hafley leaving. Virginia, another thing. They're just not there yet. And Cal. There's no reason you shouldn't win 8, maybe 9 games because I think you could get TCU, Louisville on the road's tough. Florida State, that's tough as well, but you get them at home. Just go 1-2 right there. And
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You need that's your 1-2 spot because I think we highlight a lot of 3 stretch games. Like where do you need to go 1-2 for these 6.5, 7.5 point these wins? That right there, and I think that's really capable.
Two ACC losses might get you in the title game. So like even if you lose to Louisville and Florida State, you might get in play for a title. I think that would be awesome for that program. So that's where I went with mine. Again, the Florida one's just disgusting. They need a vaccine for how disgusting that thing is. That is sickening.
The realistic number in your head, SMU wise, probably 9, right? That's
I guarantee
big
8.
9.
I guarantee 8. If I was putting the number out there, I'd put it at 8.5. But that's just me. That's why I don't own a book.
Is it plus money right now? Like, what is? Do you even remember?
That's a great. I again did not look at the odds. I looked straight at the win total. Did not look at the odds. I'll look right now, Jake. Don't worry. I'll get there. But we can jump. We can jump to the next one.
Yeah, it's me. And here's the plus minus. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
here's the plus minus of making the graphics for this is I get all the teams, and then I also have to decide as a showman to whether or not to put up the same teams. Florida's the best under out there. If you haven't taken it, you're insane. But if it's not great odds, then don't. But Florida would have been mine. Taking a look at anybody else, Minnesota is not going to be good this year. They don't. They lose a ton. I mean, you're talking about a team that was competitive only won 5 games last year when they had higher aspirations, lost their quarterback, had to pay somebody to stay and play in a bowl game where they almost lost to Bowling Green. I mean, the program's just down. And I don't like PJ Fleck. I think if you look at their schedule, which we will, then you'll see why. Texas Tech, I'm a Joey McGuire guy, and I'm really high on the class that he's bringing in. 26th overall class of 2024 recruits. They're going to have a lot of young talent. Now, whether or not he plays that young talent will just basically decide this bet. Just going through the names, Micah Hudson, that 5-star wide receiver, 25th ranked player in the country, 5th at his position. He's going to be a stud. He can recruit. And we were all high on Texas Tech going into last year. They had the injury.
Not all of us.
Yes, you were.
No,
Yes,
I
you
wasn't.
were, JP.
Dude, I said they'd win 7 games. Like, hey, don't put me in there. I've
We
been
might
wrong,
have to go
but
back
I've
and
not
pull
wrong
the
on
footage.
them.
We might have to pull the footage on that because I'm
All
pretty
right,
sure this whole
pull it.
podcast is Joey McGuire all in. But then Tyler Shuck goes down and they still battle. I mean, they were still competitive in games, even with a backup quarterback. They've kind of lost their plan, still go to a bowl game, all the good stuff. A couple more recruits they brought in. They brought in a 4-star offensive tackle, Ellis Davis. And then I really like the 4-star quarterback they brought in. Looking at his film, Will Hammond, which obviously we just said Tyler Shuck goes to the portal. He'll play somewhere else next year. They're looking for that guy. Will Hammond will compete for that job. So it'll be young talent that depends on this.
I think,
but guys, can we say it out loud that the Big 12's not very good anymore? Like it's not. They took away their 2 biggest perennials, right?
Well, we knew
you can believe the propaganda if you want. That's fine.
Oh,
if you want to continue to buy into that, I was
We
about to
talked
support your. I was about to support you with some more.
I will take your support, Jake. Give me some support. I'll take.
Well, okay, so out of the quarterback position, Baron Morton stepped in last year. I think he's going to be the guy again this year. I thought he did fine when he stayed healthy as well. They were down to
what he was going to replace. Absolutely.
Yeah. And to win 6 games last year, actually, I think they won 7 because they beat Cal in the bowl game, was a win for them. And they bring back Taj Brooks, who's a top 5 rusher in college football. So, yeah, I think the recruiting class is good. But I just don't know how much they're going to play all of those freshmen. I think it's just really hard. It's like basketball and football are just 2 completely different sports as far as playing a really good recruiting class. You know what I mean? Like Kentucky can recruit top 5 in basketball, and that might be all their starters. I just don't know how many freshmen are going to play right away. But I'd love to go into this
ballsy.
schedule.
I feel like this one's ballsy.
It is.
I don't think it.
8.5
it's just quick look. I see 3 immediately that I am questionable about.
And your 3 are at Iowa State,
at Oklahoma State,
at Oklahoma State, and debatably Washington State, but probably
TCU.
not. TCU,
at Arizona. Arizona is a tough game.
Oh yeah, that's my 3rd. Yeah, that was.
I was just penciling that as a loss.
But even though, okay, let's say they lose those 3, we're still hitting the over. I mean, it's
if you lose only those 3.
I know, but Abilene Christian, come on. Washington State without Cam Ward, and come on, give me that.
Yeah.
Get out of there.
The first 4 games,
I'll give you a 5-0. I'll give you 5-0.
They have to start 5-0. I think it's an opportunity for them, and you start 5-0. Momentum
6-1 after Baylor.
I think Dave Aranda is not going to have a job after this season. That's a way early hot take. So Baylor, I'll give that a win. At Iowa State, God knows what that team's going to look like, and until I figure out who's going to be offensive coordinator over there. Colorado, they'll already hate each other because they'll have 7 losses. Oklahoma State, that's a tough one. That's a tough spot, tough place to play, and they should have a good year. And then West Virginia, God knows what they'll do. They're up and down. They might be good. They might be good. They're like a Northwestern where it's up, down, 11 wins, 4 wins, 11. So it could be a good West Virginia team, but I like the pick.
Yeah, the schedule is favorable for them. They don't get Utah. They don't get Kansas State, the 2 top teams odds-wise in the Big 12. So I do think, yeah, you're right there. And their road games aren't the toughest places I've ever seen by any stretch.
Gosh, Texas Tech just played in the freaking Big Ten, had to actually play somebody.
That's what I'm saying. I'd like to hear JT. I know you're out there. Let's hear it. Am I right or wrong? You're the Big 12 guest of the week over and over and over again. Let's hear some thoughts out there. But going to Minnesota, let's go to Minnesota so we can go to races. But North Carolina to start off the year, I'm giving them a loss. I don't think they'll have anything ready to go. They'll start 0-1. Rhode Island, there's your 1 win. Nevada, Chubba Purdy, Nevada. Chubba Purdy, Nevada? I don't know. You got no. It could be questionable, but Iowa loss at the Big House loss. USC, I think that's just one group of athletes being better than the other, and I'll take USC. I don't care. TCF Bank Stadium's never going to be a place to me that's like, all right, they better watch out. They're going into 38,000 strong, and it's going to be super loud. Like, do the Vikes play that weekend? Do the Vikings play? They might not be. I just do not like the schedule for Minnesota, and they're replacing too many athletes and the hate for PJ Fleck. I truly think I see 4 wins on this schedule. They're going to be tough wins too.
Their November stretch it's pretty tough. I mean, your road games, if you want to get wins, you wish you had Illinois and Rutgers and Wisconsin all at home, but no, you have to go all of those road games, and the one home game you get is Penn State.
Penn State, who's the best of those teams that you just named. So that's what I see. I think 4 wins is maxed out there. I really do not see them getting to 5. JP, what do you think? Do you think Minnesota gets to 5?
I don't think they're going to be very good. Illinois is not going to be very good either, but it's too little too late by the time they get to Illinois, I think, because Rutgers is going to be much improved, and I don't think they'll beat them on the road.
Didn't they, kind of an interesting nugget, didn't they steal Rhode Island's quarterback? Like, isn't
no, he's from New Hampshire.
Oh, damn it. Same damn team.
No, not same team.
It's pretty damn close.
One's a Ram, one's a Wildcat. Hey, here we go.
Close enough.
All right. Reese, take us through.
That's so lame.
Schaefer, guess which one I love.
Probably both of them, honestly.
Give me Syracuse over. Are you kidding me?
Okay, time out. Before you get
waiting for Reese to put an
before you get rolling
here.
I have, if he's still in the chat, Justin said he loved Iowa State at over 6.5, and he took that 2 weeks ago. No more talking, Reese. Go take it. It's right there.
I'm taking it. I'm taking it. Just like I said, I don't like it, Schaefer. You know what I do? I love it. You mentioned before, no Clemson, no Florida State. Well, guess what? Also, no North Carolina, no Louisville. Okay, the 4 best teams in that conference, other than Syracuse, they don't get. You're getting Kyle McCord. You're also getting Fran Brown, who's brought in all these defensive guys from the SEC, and he brought in Fadil Diggs, the big 4-star from A&M. Yep. That defense is going to be better. They're going to be improved. Year 1, I don't think it's any question this team can win 7 minutes. Like I said, you look at their schedule already, man. Their toughest game is Miami at home to end the year. And like even in the middle, like that stretch of NC State, Pitt, and like Va-Tech. Va-Tech will be better this year, but I still don't see a stretch in there where they're going to lose 3 weeks in a row. They can maybe have a back-to-back stretch, but at Boston College, at Cal, I'm not worried about going to Cal or whatever. I just think it's a year you're going to buy in on the orange, man. I'm loving it, dude. If there's a year to be an orange fan, this is the year. I'm excited for it. It's also going to be my last year I'll be up here, so I'm going to go to as many of the games as I can. So I'm all bought in for it, and every time I go to the Dome, that's right. That's right, JT. But as I said, I'm going to go to as many of those games as I possibly can and put all the money on the orange I can. So, but yeah, I love that pick. And then the under for Arkansas, I mean, you're losing KJ Jefferson, who was the preseason All-SEC quarterback last year. Now he's at UCF. We mentioned that before. But if you're looking at it too, I don't know where they're – I mean, obviously you see the guarantee, like the whoever the hell is they open, Arkansas Pine Bluff and like UAB. But like other than that, I don't know like the guarantees because like even those other kind of mid teams in the SEC this year, like Auburn, Mississippi State, you really don't know what those teams are going to be like this year. I mean, with Hugh Freeze, I think Auburn's going to be a little bit more improved. They were a play away last year from beating Alabama, who got to the college football playoff. So I just don't know if Arkansas goes in this year and has much success. I'd love to see them because you guys went there, Woo Pig, all that fun stuff. But I just don't know where I see the success from this year. I mean, A&M is going to be much improved, I think, with Elko. Tennessee is going to be tough with Nico, and then you're also got LSU. I just don't know in there where you have back-to-back wins to get them to bowl eligibility with 6. I just don't see it. I think 5 is their ceiling. Honestly, I think 3 or 4 is pretty expectorant of this team. So,
and don't sleep on the dogs after Sam Pittman gets fired after getting 30 balled by Texas. Don't sleep on the dogs coming into town. JP, what are we thinking?
No, I agree. If you're looking at it like from an outside perspective, it sucks for some of these coaches that are already kind of dealing with hot seat situations, and then they just get thrown schedules like this. You know, like
that's impossible.
Do you think these ADs or boosters are paying these commissioners to be like, hey, can you make sure that Arkansas's easy games, like Mississippi State and I forgot who the other one was already. But yeah, can we make sure they're on the road? Like, hey, Minnesota, can we make sure we have to go to Rutgers, to Illinois? That we don't need those at home. We don't even want to risk any chances.
Yeah, no, I think those were all good. Florida seemed to be the consensus of, that schedule's so
Yeah,
rough. I couldn't even
it's not
believe
a
that number
sexy
was
one.
where it was. Like,
not
you
a-
think it's so hard that the books are just like, all right, we got to put this at 5.5 and load the money. Otherwise, we'll get killed if it's any lower. Because, I mean, what's the realistic number for Florida? 3? 4?
I don't
don't
want to
know.
go so far as that yet. I think it's too early for me to say that.
Well, if you had them
team's
as your
gonna win.
favorite under at 5.5, you think 5's the ceiling. So what's,
Yeah, no, I do. But I don't want to say. I mean, we got on this camp and said Northwestern was going to win one game last year. So
Hey,
Very
that
different
was
circumstances.
and not in our defense, in our hatred. That was like 2 weeks before kickoff.
That
Like,
was
we were
we did
dead
not.
set. That was not February. That
I
was
know, there's not a
August.
lot of people out there that had 7 written down for the Wildcats. That's all I'm going to say.
What a job by Braun. All right.